The panic in New Hampshire does not seem to be abating for the failed former president, Donald Trump, who is now regularly speaking there, almost daily rallies now in New Hampshire, as Nikki Haley has surged and has tied Trump there. In one recent poll, Trump speaking yesterday in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, visibly disoriented, bragging about acing a test in which he was determined to be cognitively fit because he identified a giraffe and a tiger. A very, very strange speech. And the entire context, of course, continues to be Trump insisting that Biden's demented, but that he is cognitively sharper than ever. You only need to listen to a couple of these strange rants to realize that is very much not the case.
Believe it or not, I feel like I'm about 35 years old. I actually feel better now than I did 30 years ago. Tell me, is that crazy? I feel better now. And I think cognitively, I'm better than I was 20 years ago. I don't know why. I said, doctor, Doc Ronnie, right? Ronnie, do you know Ronnie? Ronnie Jackson? I said, should I take a cognitive test? Because for a while, they were saying, this guy is so brilliant, he wants to take over the world. And that wasn't working. This guy is like unbelievable, the job he's doing. We have to stop him. He's a genius.
People were shocked at how much of a genius Trump was. Remember that, guys, when the generals thought he was so smart?
Then they said, this is one of the dumbest human beings ever. And that wasn't working, but I didn't like that one as much. I mean, that was bad. So I asked Doc Ronnie, who is, as you know, the White House doctor for Obama, for Trump. I mean, great doctor. He's also an admiral in the Navy, highly respected admiral. Now he's
right. So he gets off track with Dr. Ronnie Jackson's credentials, but eventually he gets back to it and he brags, listen, guys, I really did ace that dementia test. Perfect score.
But I said, well, I'm good at tests, so what's the story? He said, well, the problem is, people will find out, and if you do badly, it's not a particularly good thing. You don't want to have some guy get like a disaster. I said, well, is it a hard test? It can be hard. I said, look, I got to take it because I got to shut it up. And I took it, and I aced it. I think it was 30 questions. And let me tell you, they always show you the first one, like a giraffe, a tiger, or this, or that, a whale. Which one is the whale? Okay, and that goes on for 3 or 4, and then it gets harder and harder and harder, and then
it gets really, really hard. At one point, you have to, I believe, draw hands on an analog clock for like 10 a.m. or something like that, and remember 5 words also. Really tough test. And if you're trying to convince people that cognitively you're doing really well, I don't know that you should be delivering word salads like this one.
But we're also going to place strong protections to stop banks and regulators from trying to debank you from your political beliefs, what they do.
They're going to debank you from your political beliefs.
They want to debank you, and we're going to debank. Think of this. They want to take away your rights. They want to take away your country. The things you're doing, all electric cars, give me a break. If you want an electric car, good, but they don't go far. They're very expensive.
We are going to debank. Think of this, electric cars. Not convincing that he knows what is going on. While talking about caucus results, Trump gets sidetracked and starts talking about how he used to drive a Rolls Royce. And again, I get that the pressure's getting to this guy. 91 felony counts, defamation trial. Nikki Haley now is tied with you in New Hampshire in a recent poll. You've got a bloody hand that people think is syphilis. I get that the pressure's getting to the guy. But maybe that's a reason not to make him president again.
Close to 7 o'clock, I said, one more. You just won the Iowa primary, you call it, the Iowa caucus. I said, how did I win the caucus? I just got here. The doors were still open to the army tank that I drive in. We have windows that are like this thick. I've never seen anything like that. I call it an army tank.
Yeah.
But I used to drive a Rolls Royce, and now I drive in an army tank. But the army tank costs more money than the Rolls Royce, so
Cultists stood in line in the bitter cold and snow for hours waiting to hear this. Trump again claiming you need ID to buy bread. What? Have you ever been carded for pumpernickel, ladies and gentlemen?
Same day voting and voter ID, right? Voter ID. You don't have voter ID. Why do the Democrats fight voter ID? They have voter ID. They have ID on everything. You buy a loaf of bread, you have ID. Everything to get into a store. But they don't want it for one reason, because they cheat. They want to cheat.
I have to tell you, I bought a beautiful sourdough the other day. They forgot to ID me. It could have been completely inappropriate for someone my age to be buying that bread. And yet they let me walk out of the store with it like it's nothing. And then finally, this disoriented moment where Trump talks about corn in a really weird way is continuing to raise questions as to what exactly is going on with Trump's brain.
Learn that. And, we have more liquid gold and wealth under our feet than any other nation. We have more liquid gold, oil and gas, more liquid gold. Well, I just met non-liquid gold. You know where it was? Iowa. It's called corn. It's non-liquid. That's my take. You have more non-liquid gold. They said, what is that? I said, corn. They said, we love that idea. That's a pretty cool thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a nickname in its own way, but we came up with a new couple of words for corn.
There you go. Non-liquid gold, as corn should be known the world over from now on. This is not a guy, without making any diagnosis or declaration about why Trump is behaving this way, confused, disoriented, losing his train of thought, syphilitic looking blisters on his hand. We don't have to have any diagnosis to know this isn't the guy I want with the nuclear codes, is the way I would put it. And if you need any reinforcement of the fact that this is not the guy that we want, you need only see some of the folks that attended this completely bonkers rally. Let's talk about that next. I've had such trouble finding a great razor where I am not cutting myself or getting those nicks on my skin, which are so common with the cheap disposable razors. You have to meet our sponsor, Henson Shaving. Henson actually manufactures parts for the International Space Station and the Mars rover, and they are bringing that exact same precision engineering to the shaving experience. It hurts when you shave because blades extend too far and thus they wobble slightly. But with their aerospace grade CNC machines, Henson is able to make metal razors that extend just 0.0013 inches. That's less than the thickness of a human hair, which means a secure, stable blade with the vibration-free shave. It also has built-in channels to evacuate the hair and the cream. No more clogs, no more rubbing your thumb on the razor to get the hair out. I use Henson at home. Shaving is a great experience now. Henson wants to be the best razor, not the best razor business, which means you only need to buy it once and it's awesome. Go to hensonshaving.com/Pacman, add a razor and a 100-pack of blades to your cart, then enter the code Pacman to get the 100 blades for free. That is a 3-year supply. The link is down below.